This is the Coach's Wife Life podcast. I'm Kristen Eargle, your host, a former TV sports reporter and fellow college football coach's wife. I'll go one-on-one with the strong women who are the backbone of college athletics and athletics of all levels. And now, Coach's Wife Life.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
It's my honor to bring Christina Jones on the podcast. Christina is the wife of Anthony Jones, the running backs coach at TCU, and you're joining us from the national championship game the day before as the Horned Frogs are taking on the defending national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs. Tell me, where are you right now?
We are in sunny Los Angeles, California. I mean, the view is insane. The energy is great. It's just all so surreal.
I bet you're just pinching yourself right now.
I really am, Kristen. I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that we would be here, I'd be like, no, we wouldn't. But here we are.
Here you are, and it's the day before. It's like the eve, and just build up to that. Now, Describe for us this season. You just said, I mean, if you had told me early on, you'd be sitting in California right now. You wouldn't have believed us. So At what point? I mean, how many nail biters were there? I was trying to keep up and count up fourth quarter comebacks. As a coach's wife, you're living on the edge of your seat. Just describe the season for us.
We are definitely living on the edge of our seats. There have been so many nail biters. I mean, we have a running joke between the wives that we call them the cardiac frogs. So there have been plenty of nail biters, but I mean, our guys are hungry. They really want it. They're so talented, and they always seem to get the job done. The coaches have been so incredible. I mean, just coaching the guys up and developing them. It's been an awesome season.
Incredible. So TCU is making the first appearance in the college football playoff. It's the first team in the state of Texas to make the CFP. The first Big 12 conference member to win a CFP game. And then the 51 points last week set a program record for a bowl game. You've been setting records, breaking records all season long. Talk me through the schedule. So you got there a couple days ago. What day did you fly? And how many days before the game? So the game is on Monday, which is January the 9th, right?
Right, January the 9th. So all my days are jumbled up. Today is Sunday, right? Okay. Right. We flew in on Friday, the 6th. We left Texas around 1 o'clock, I believe, and we got to LA around 3 o'clock. We went to visit the stadium, which was so cool. The guys took a team picture. We were able to walk the field, kind of see the locker room. I mean, it was just so, it's just a blessing, honestly, Kristen, just to be there. And everyone is just so excited. Looking around, you can see like the Horned Frog painted on the field. It says TCU versus Georgia. It's like, pinch me. Is this real? I think I put on Instagram a story. I'm like, is this real life?
And I am stalking you like crazy on Instagram. Every time I'm like, oh, it's her. I want to see where she's at right now. What are they doing? So what's it like as a coach's wife? Are there some events? What do they do for the families? What's the swag like? Did you get any bowl camps?
We did. So the guys, they got a really nice pullover. It has the championship logo on it, the playoff logo. They've gotten so much stuff. They got a really nice watch. It says National Championship. We pretty much have a gift in our room every night. They've gotten like stuff for practice, towels, sunscreen, because, we're in sunny LA. You can't go anywhere without sunscreen. We have a hospitality room that is next level. They have all types of events for us in there. They have like little games where you guess the event and you can win a prize. I mean, everything is awesome. The children have their own hospitality room. They play games. Yesterday, they built a Lego head. I have to show you my daughter's creation.
Oh my goodness!
So they built a Lego head. They made ice cream sundaes. I mean, everything is what you would think it would be.
Wow.
Top
Because you've
level.
been part of multiple bowl games before with Memphis before even getting to TCU. So obviously,
Right.
you're a veteran here. So the experience is top notch.
It's definitely top notch. With Memphis, we were able to go to the Cotton Bowl, which blew my mind,
Yeah, I
But
hear
then
that's a
last,
nice one.
it is, yeah, it's really nice. So that was good. We were excited to go to the Cotton Bowl. And then last week, we were at the Fiesta Bowl with TCU. And I mean, mind blown times two. I'm like, this is so awesome. And
Yeah.
now we're at the championship game, and I'm like, okay, this is the best of the best.
Incredible. So proud of you both. Now, we were on the same staff last year for the Memphis Tigers, and let's talk about your husband's path to where he is today as the running backs coach
Okay.
for TCU.
Okay.
He's a huge part of this explosive offense that we see week in and week out. Made his mark for the Memphis Tigers with 4 running backs being drafted in a 3-year period. He was selected for the AFCA 35 under 35 Leadership Institute, as well as the 2022 NCAA and NFL Coaches Academy. But from your perspective, Christina, what makes him special?
Honestly, what makes Anthony special is the fact most people know his silly side. Like, they're always like, your husband's so funny. He can crack a joke and just light up a whole room. Everybody's laughing. But the side of Anthony that I know is I know the God-fearing Anthony. Most people don't know that he's a preacher's kid. His dad is a pastor in Memphis. Anthony grew up in church, and I did too, but Anthony can quote any Bible scripture in the Bible. He listens to 4 to 5 sermons a day, and I'm not exaggerating. You can just walk in his office and he'll have a preacher like preaching on he's streaming it from YouTube in his office. I mean, he starts his day with devotional and reading the Bible and praying. Most people don't know that about him, but he's really rooted in God's word. And ultimately, I think that that's the basis of his success.
Wow, that gives me chills. That's incredible. I love that. Just the boldness and the faithfulness
Right.
to his
Yeah.
Savior, and to make it a part. There's one thing to just know about it, or it's been a part of your past, but to make it a discipline and part of your life. And he's reaping a lot of rewards. That's incredible.
He is.
Okay, so I do know some of these answers because we were on the same staff with
Okay.
you, but our
Right.
listeners don't, right? So I'm going to have
Okay,
to
yeah.
ask you, like I don't know some of these questions. So where did you grow up, and did you ever see yourself as a coach's wife?
Okay, so I am born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Yes. And honestly, no, I did not see myself as a coach's wife. Anthony and I met our last year in college. We went to UT Chattanooga, and he was a football player. So, when you're in college, you're like, okay, let's go support the football game, put on a cute outfit, go with friends. Once I started dating him, I started to get more into football. But honestly, Kristen, like, I really didn't know what was going on. I couldn't tell you like the play, I couldn't tell you like what a call was or, anything about a play until he was like really into high school football, like his 5th or 6th year of head coaching. That's when I was like, okay, let me learn the game. We're obviously going to be here, so I need to learn a little bit about it.
Wow. So how did you meet? Can we hear that story before I find out how this progression went from high school to TCU?
Yes, so we have different stories. He has his version, and I have mine. So I'll tell you mine. We met in a we met in a summer school class at UT Chattanooga. It was a business class. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about his version. So he was a football player. They had an academic advisor. He went to his academic advisor, and he was like, "I don't want to take this class." And she's like, "Okay, I get that, but just go to class, see if you like it, and come back and let me know." So he went to class on the first day, and it's so funny because he went back to his academic advisor, and he was like, "I think I'm going to keep the class." And she was like, "It's a girl that you like in there."
She knew right away.
Yeah, she knew. We ended up sitting by each other. He was late, typical football player, right? He was a little late. Our teacher had us put our desk in a circle, so nobody was sitting by me. So I put my stuff in an empty desk. So when he came in, that was the only desk available, and he sat by me. I kind of was distracted in class and I was doodling, like making pictures, like drawing my names in the big bubble letters that we used to do. And he
Yes.
was like, "Will you buy me a picture? I mean, will you draw me a picture?" Sorry. So I'm like, sure. So it took me a couple of days, but I ended up researching, his football jersey number, and I drew him, his jersey number on a picture, and I gave it to him. He ended up asking for my number. I gave him the last 7 digits. And as I was walking out, he was like, "Is this 423, which is Chattanooga's area code, or 901, Memphis area code?" And I was like, "Well, if you want to call me, figure it out."
I love it.
I know. I was on my way to Memphis that night, and I was at my sister's house, and I had like 4 missed calls. So he figured it out.
I
The rest
love
is
it.
history.
That is so amazing. I love it. That is okay. So, do you have an artistic ability? I mean, are you a good?
Not really. I mean,
I
I
mean,
like
I'll do
to.
stick figures if it were me, but if it, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it was just like the big bubble letters. Like I was drawing
okay,
my name in the big bubble letters. Not really. I
I
don't.
love it. Okay, so you started dating, you get married. He says, "I'm embarking on this coaching career." He gets a job in high school at his old high school, right?
Right. Yep. So we started dating in 2007, and he graduated December of 2007. I graduated May of '08. We ended up moving back to Memphis. He was working at Enterprise from December until May. He was working at Enterprise Rent a Car. And he's like, "Babe, I really want to explore coaching. I want to do high school coaching." So he emailed every coach in the city of Memphis.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
and only 2 coaches ended up responding back. It was, Telly White and, I forgot his name, but he was the coach at East High School, and Telly was at Tresvent High School. So Anthony goes and, he's doing the summer, like, football at Tresvent High School, and he starts at Tresvent as a teacher, but he ends up getting moved to Westwood, surplus to Westwood, which is his alma mater. So he was the assistant coach there for, I believe, 2 years, and he became the youngest head coach at the time, with Memphis City Schools, coaching at Westwood High School. We coached there until, I believe, 2013. Well, he coached there.
I say that all the time.
I
We
mean,
are
it's
it's
a
a
team,
family.
right?
We're all
Yes,
in.
until 2013, and we ended up moving to Cordova High School. He ended up changing the whole program. They went to playoffs. I think it was the first time in school history that they went to playoffs. Don't quote me on that, but they had really good years under Anthony. December 17, right before Memphis football went to the Liberty Bowl game, Anthony ended up interviewing with Coach Norvell, and he got the job. And his first college game was the Liberty Bowl game in 2017.
Wow. Incredible.
Yes,
And so he did
yes.
18, 19, 20, and then 21. So
21.
4 years
Uh-huh.
of this. Yeah.
Right. And he got the TCU job in March. It was the first day of spring break for my girls. It was March the 14th. So he got the call March the 14th, and he was on a flight out that night.
Wow.
Yes.
Incredible. Okay, so you have 2 beautiful daughters. Tell me all about them. One of them is obviously great at Legos, right?
Right. So we have Kenzie. Kenzie's in the 5th grade. She's in the competitive cheer, and she's really interested in volleyball. So we're trying to figure out how we can do cheer and volleyball at the same time. We're working on that. Kaylee is in the 3rd grade, and Kaylee's in gymnastics as well. She does not do competitive cheer, but she really likes soccer. We're trying to find her a soccer team. She did a summer soccer league in Fort Worth. But we're trying to find her, a soccer league to be a part of.
Very good. Well, right now, this is a tough question to answer because you're at the top point right now. Like you usually talk about adversity, well, not any this
Right.
year, but if there's anything that stood out to you, just not every day's perfect, right? Not
Yeah.
every day's the whole national championship game a
Right.
few hours away. Your life's not like this
Right.
every day. But has there been a moment that has been a little tougher than others that you and Anthony have had together, maybe on the field, off the field, whatever, that you've walked through some things, and then who or what did you rely on to get through those moments?
I mean, I in this lifestyle, I mean, we have tough moments, right? Just for us, and I'm sure every coach's wife can relate, like your husband wanting a job and maybe being overlooked, or wanting that promotion and maybe being overlooked. I think we've all gone through that. And you just have to support them and just encourage them that, you're in the right field. This is your calling. And, for us, Anthony and I, we always say that the will of God will never take you where the grace of God cannot protect you. So that's really been our saving moment. In 2014, my father passed. So that was a really tough year for me. And, he's trying to juggle football, the stress of football, and console me at the same time. But outside of that, football has been really good for us. Um, I am 100% sure that this is Anthony's calling to develop young men and, just prepare them for the game of life. Like, okay, we have the game of football, but are you ready for the game of life? And
Right.
that's one thing that I 100% appreciate about Anthony is that he really takes the players under his wings. Like, the players love him. His running backs love him. For Christmas, when we were at the Fiesta Bowl, we spent Christmas in Arizona, and one of his running backs presented him with a picture, a framed picture that he had signed, is of Anthony hugging him on the field.
Wow.
And it's moments like that, and you're like, I mean, it's awesome. Just the reach that they have, just what they do. They really do special work.
They
They
do.
really do.
I mean, that makes it those days worth it. That's
It
why you
does.
do it. It's the impact of young men. Now,
Right.
what year is this for you being a coach's wife altogether?
Okay, so coach's wife, this is my 11th year, but
11.
Anthony coached high school for 10 years.
Okay.
And this is my 5th year as a coach's wife.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
what's one thing you're glad you made a priority in your life?
So I have a couple of answers to that, Kristen. My first answer is marriage. I mean, marriage is our first ministry, right? And if
Mhm.
Anthony and I were not solid as a team unit, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. My second answer is family. The girls have really embodied and embraced this football world. Any Saturday morning during football season, Kaylee's like, put on college game day. They really get it.
That's
And just
awesome.
including them in this crazy football life that we live. We always go to the stadium. We'll just, the football complex will pop up and just say hi to Anthony, on days that they may have long hours, just so he can see the girls, if he's getting home late. And also just being his support system. I mean, this is a tough life to live.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, it's really funny because I mean I'm really girly, but I can put together anything. The other day, like a screw came out of my bed. My mom was like, "Did you call somebody?" I'm like, "No, I put the bed back together myself."
Fixing the whole bed.
Yes, I mean, yes, I'm the handyman. Just embracing those roles. Like you have all these roles. You're not just a wife and mother during football season. You're the handyman. You're the
Yeah.
referee for your children. I mean, you're the nurse. We juggle so many hats during football season, and just alleviating him of that stress so he can focus on his job. And focus on winning football games and just developing young men and just being the best that he can be.
What are some of those ways that you feel like that maybe a contribution has been made by you, maybe on the success on the field? Do you think it's taking those things off of him or relieving some pressure? What would you say to that question?
I do. I think it's relieving some of that pressure and also just letting the boys know that they're our family. Like, one of our running backs, his girlfriend is pregnant, And I mean, I take her to lunch all the time. She's really my friend. Honestly, she comes over my house. I talk to her on the phone. Like just letting them know that they are truly our family. We love them, we support them, and we are there 100% for them. And they know that. They're like Mrs. Joe. I like stock the position room, his position room before summer practice and stuff. And when they get low, I try to restock it. Just letting them know, it's the small things that count for them.
Oh,
Inviting them over for like a home cooked meal. They came over for Thanksgiving
do they
because we
really?
had
Did
a
you cook
game that
some?
weekend. I did. I cooked all the things.
Did you really?
I did. So we had a house full of players on Thanksgiving because they couldn't go home. We had a game that Saturday. So yeah, just
What'd you
making
cook?
sure they know. I made dressing. I did not do a turkey because I have not mastered that yet.
No,
Uh,
same. Buy the turkey.
right. I made a ham. We did mac and cheese, lasagna, sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole.
You were cooking for
So many
days.
things, Kristen. Cooking for days. Yes.
You were cooking for days. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Now you talked
Yeah.
everyone, you mentioned it earlier, which is what first came to my mind when someone says those two words, Anthony Jones. I think the big
Yeah.
personality, right? And he was
Yeah.
hilarious. I watched him at an event when we were at Memphis together.
Yeah.
I'm sure you see him being creative as well in recruiting or with it, connecting with his players. But what's one
Mhm.
idea that you've seen him implement that's really made you proud?
Um, so he tries to do something, if not weekly, but bi-weekly for the players. Does that count as an idea? He'll either have them over or we'll go out. We'll take them out, the running backs out. And what is so amazing to me and it's so sweet is that he not only invites the players, but he invites their girlfriends as well. And I think that's awesome because, we really are a family unit. And just including them is just so awesome to me. Making sure that they know that they're part of the family. We went to Top Golf one time, all of us. We had like 4 bays. We spent
Oh,
hours there and it was
did
just
you
so
really?
fun. Yeah. It's a place in Fort Worth called Pinstripes. It's a bowling alley. We've been there. They came to my daughter's birthday party. Like,
Really?
yes, it truly is a family unit. It really is.
Building that camaraderie, because everyone points to TCU who's watching it on TV, and it's
Hmm.
so evident that they have culture, that they are so bought
Right.
into a single mission. They're very passionate.
Yes.
But if you peel back the layers, where is this coming from? Why are they playing for each other more than themselves? And it's moments like this that you are investing in them. That's the
Right.
difference.
Yes.
That's part of it. It's
Right.
incredible.
Yeah.
Now, you recently moved this spring from Memphis to Fort Worth area. It was your first move
Hmm.
with kids, right? So, what are some of those
It
things
was
that
my
you
first
found
move,
effective?
period.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there like, okay, new
Hmm.
city, I got to find schools. I have to kind of get a babysitter every so often. What
Right.
what works
Yeah.
for you to get settled?
So with it being my first move, I'm not going to lie, I was very overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, how do I research these things and make sure we're in the right area? The girls are at a good school. But the coaches' wives were so awesome. Kate Dykes is just the best. She's just so friendly and helpful. I can call her at any time, text her at any time. She really helped us, along with the other coaches' wives. We stay in Benbrook, which is about 17 minutes from campus. And outside of the coaches' wives, I've developed some relationships with some pretty awesome moms at the girls' school, and they've helped me as well. So it's been good. Like, if I have a question, I have a huge support system in Fort Worth, which was my main concern because, we're going from Memphis, where both of our families are,
Right.
entire families are, yeah, to a city where we really have no family. But before, like when we first got together as wives, I could tell that this was a very special group of wives. And we really are, we're not just our husbands coach together. We're really friends, and that's what I appreciate about it.
And you can actually see that too. I've had Kate on the podcast. You could tell instantly she's dynamic and extremely great
She
head
is.
coach and his wife.
Yes.
You can also tell with how much you hang out together on social media. There's a deep
Yeah.
connection there. I also saw you
Yes.
dancing with Kate.
Yes.
Was that yesterday?
It was. No, what's today?
2
Okay,
days
it was
ago?
Friday night. It was
Okay,
Friday
Friday
night at
night.
the welcome event. Yeah. She's like, let's go do this 360. Yeah, she's just awesome like that. She makes us feel included. She really is. She's really good.
And you, obviously, how is her dance moves? It's hard to compete though in your family. Anthony's dance moves are, social media famous.
It's so funny because I tell the wives all the time, I have never seen him dance so much. Like I didn't even know he had the moves, Kristen, honestly. And he continues to shock me. And it's so funny because they'll send me the videos from social media and I'm like, oh Lord, he's at it again. But Kate's dance moves were A1. I give her a 10/10.
10 out of 10. All right, you heard it here first. Okay, so who is your coach's wife mentor, or maybe don't have one yet? Maybe you're about to become a mentor in all this, or already are one. What would you answer the question about
Yeah.
mentor?
So as far as mentors, I don't have a mentor per se, but I will say we've had the awesome opportunity to be under three amazing head coaches. Maria Norvell was awesome. Mariana Silverfield, she was great. And Kate Dykes is good. She's great too, So it's just been good. Like we've had just such great head coaches' wives that really invest in us and, make us feel a part of the family. So I would say all three of them. You take stuff from each head coach's wife that you've been under, and you're like, oh my God, that's great. Let me write this down.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you take things from each of them, and they've all like invested in me, and they've all had great ideas. So I would say the three of them.
Now, you were a head coach's wife in high school, and so you've held that role before as well. I'm sure you've had some experience and then tucking some things away for future reference one day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what are some of those things you enjoy doing with the coaches' wives on staff? It's hard to beat the 360 at the national championship game, but
Right.
anything along the way, you guys would get pedicures or anything fun?
Right. We do a lot of lunch dates. We're a lunch date type of group. So, any day we'll say, hey, let's do lunch. We meet up pretty a lot. It's been good. We have Kate puts on dinners for us, or we'll have like a recruiting event at, Coach Dykes and Kate's house, and we're out there. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
There's no cap on what we do, anything, but mostly lunch dates. This
Pretty
group
good?
is just so
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, we've been shopping together. It's just been a dream season. That's how I'm going to describe it. A dream season with the best people.
Some of those ways you try to show his players they mean more to you than the number they wear. You do that day in and day out, and you've described a lot of that already. Anything that you want to add to that? Obviously, dinners and time with their girlfriends as well, which, I actually hadn't heard that. There's not a lot of people that are doing that. That's very creative.
Yeah.
And a great way to connect. Anything else you want to add?
With the TCU players, outside of dinner and like hanging out with them, I think that's pretty much it. Showing them love through food and hanging out. At Memphis, it's so funny because I was known as like the babysitter. I would babysit the kids, the players' kids. Yeah. It's just such an honor and a privilege for the players to trust you, and just for them to really feel that family dynamic and trust you with their kids. So, it's the players are great. Like, I can't stress enough, like, how much we really do love and appreciate them because without them, there would be no us, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay, so you're giving a lot to a lot of other people. You are being that full-time mom. You've moved. You're getting your girls connected and established.
Yeah.
But then there's you and Anthony. What do you guys do to stay connected during the season?
Okay, so if they have a home game, we do a day date. on the Friday, or depending on when the game is, we do a date during the day while the kids are at school. It's just him and I. So we're really competitive. We're going somewhere where somebody gets the bragging rights for winning. He beat me at Top Golf, but then I beat him at bowling. So we're trying to do something like that. We do try to stay connected, and it's hard during the season, but for sure we're doing day dates, during the season if they have a home game, and just sneaking away from the kids. I've been fortunate to find a babysitter, so I'll
Mm.
call her up and say, "Will you watch the kids? Anthony and I want to go out," and they love her, so it works out.
It's been a good transition. Okay.
hmm
If you get a moment alone,
hmm
what do you enjoy doing for yourself?
So I like reading, and it's so funny because Kenzie's like, "You like to binge watch Netflix?" So it's either reading or binge watching Netflix.
Both are equally important. Let me tell
Right.
you. I'm not a reader, so when somebody comes in here and goes, "I read this many books a year," I'm like, "Oh no."
I know.
Keep up with that.
I know. You have to do what works for you.
You
And
gotta do
it's
it once.
50-50. Yeah.
Little TV helps mom over here. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the most rewarding aspect about being a coach's wife?
The most rewarding aspect is for sure the relationships that we get to build, not only with the players, but the coaches and their wives too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for these rapid fire questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. I always ask about books. I'm not even a reader, but it does tell people what you're into. Okay. So what's
Yeah.
the last book you've read?
The last book I read is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And it was so
Recommend.
good.
Okay. Coach
100%.
surprises you, walks in the door with concert tickets. What would be printed on that ticket?
Okay, so if he's wanting to go to a concert, Jill Scott is printed on the tickets. If I'm going to a concert, Beyonce.
There you go. There you go. Can't turn that down.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with someone other than family, current or from history, who would that be?
My girls are gonna laugh at me. One just ran by. But Whitney Houston, we saw her movie. We watched the movie that just came out about her on Christmas while we were in Arizona. And at first, when the previews first came out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, another Whitney movie!" Like I'm sure that's all of our thoughts, right? Like I wish I would just let her rest in peace. But the movie was so good. I was in there singing and dancing. Kenzie's like, "Stop!" But yeah, for sure, Whitney Houston.
Okay. Can you sing? I didn't know this. I'm adding this question in.
So no, I cannot sing. And
Little bit?
I was in, no, not even a little bit. And it's so funny because in middle school, I went to a performing arts school, and the how I got in was choir. And
Yeah.
I sang Happy Birthday. My mom was so mad because I was supposed to like practice a real song and like have a real song prepared. And I was kind of rebelling because I didn't want to go to the school. I didn't want to be in choir. And so I didn't have anything, and I sang Happy Birthday. And they let me in. I'm like, they let me in anyway, even though I can't sing.
I love it. I love it. They can tell your genuine heart. Or you probably don't give yourself enough credit. I'm sure you sound great. Okay, you get a night alone. What show are you binge watching? What's Netflix on?
Okay, so right now I'm watching Jenny and Georgia.
There you go. What's your
Yeah.
go-to meal to cook?
Chicken Alfredo for sure. Quick and easy.
What sport can you beat Coach Jones in?
Does ping pong count? Because in a hospitality room, I beat him in ping pong 3 times in a row.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
he's like, I need a do-over. I'm like, no, you lost, buddy. Just
Lost.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, if Coach Jones weren't a football coach, what would he be?
He would for sure be a businessman. He had in college, he was a double major, business marketing and business management. And truthfully, those little 6 months that he worked at Enterprise, he was killing it. So he would for sure be something in the business world. I could see him honestly being like a CEO of a big company. Like he has that kind of swag.
I can see it too. What's one thing non-tech you just can't live without?
Let's see, non-tech. Truthfully, Kristen, I think all my things are tech. It's like my
I'm
iPad and
with
my
you.
Apple Watch and
I know. What about
I
coffee? Are
know.
you a coffee drinker?
I am not a coffee drinker. If I go to Starbucks, I'm getting a hot chocolate or strawberry lemonade. It's so funny.
So do you wake up with water? Like, do you just go drink some water, milk? What
I
do you wake
do.
up?
I wake up and I try to drink like some warm lemon water to get the day started. But truthfully, maybe orange juice. Maybe orange juice is my non-tech thing. At the Fiesta Bowl, the orange juice that they had was top notch. I've never had orange juice as good as the orange juice that the Fiesta Bowl had. It was so good.
This might be my favorite thing you've
I
said the
know.
whole
I
podcast.
mean, that is so random, but the orange, I think I drank like 4 glasses of orange juice each morning. It was that good. It was so good.
I wonder if the players felt the same. Maybe we need to get some of that shipped in
I
for
think
tomorrow.
they did.
And like the
I
secret
think
sauce.
so.
Okay, last question. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Mind reading. Yeah. I want to read minds and see what people are thinking and not saying.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. This has been a blast, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
For a replay of this episode or previous episodes, visit coacheswifelife.org and follow us on social media at Coaches Wife Life.